guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today it's Friday. I just got back from work, so it's the evening, and I thought, why not make it this weekend a reading weekend and pair it up with a reading vlog. And to make it even more special, make it a 24-hour readathon. Well, basically it's going to be 24 hours, but I'm going to pause the timer when I have to, sleep, study, or do something that doesn't allow me to read or listen to an audiobook at the same time, because I want to see also how realistically I can read, the number of pages I can read in 24 hours, but without all the breaks in between. Let's go right away to the books that I'm going to read this weekend, hopefully finish them as well, but we'll see. So these are the 3 books. One of them I loaned from the library today, and since it's Black History Month, February's, I'm going to read 3 books by Black authors. The first book I'm going to mention is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. The thing with this book is that it's a historical fiction, which is a genre I don't really read. I usually try to avoid it because sometimes it has heavier topics, and this is the case with this book too. It is about a slave girl in a plantation in Georgia. And basically this is all I know about this book because I like going into my books blind. So we'll find out what else is happening in this book together, without spoilers, of course. The next book I'm going to read is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is the first book in a series that I have heard is amazing. But so far it's a little bit slow going for me. I started it at a physical form, and then I decided to read more as an audiobook, so listen to it during my commute from home to work and from work to home. The audiobook is very good, but because this is a science fiction book, it has some themes and some words and some names that are not so common, and so I can't connect so much if I don't see them as well. So I'm trying to read it as well in the physical form, and also made some progress in the audiobook when I can't physically read. So this is going to be my choice when I want the science fiction and when I want to listen to the audiobook. So while I'm doing something around the house, some chores around the house perhaps, I can listen to my audiobook. And the third and final book is Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. This is a book that I also have started, and when I was reading the physical form, I reached chapter 8, which is only 62 pages, and I kind of put it down for a while. And then I tried the audiobook, but I also put it down because I couldn't really connect with the audiobook. I don't know why. Maybe because this is a YA fantasy, and right now I'm not super into YA fantasy, but I really want to make progress in this book because it has some Black legends inside that I'm really interested in, that are very exciting topics, and I want to finish it because honestly I also have the physical form, so why not? These are the 3 books that I'm going to read. I have my timer here set for 24 hours. I'm not starting it yet unless I get settled and ready to start reading. I will keep you updated. Saturday. It's early evening. I haven't made as much progress as I would like because I got addicted to Blacklist, honestly. And yesterday I was a little bit sick. I was a little bit tired from the week, so I couldn't read so much. This morning I also went out for some grocery shopping and stuff, so again I didn't make a lot of progress, although I managed to insert some reading into the schedule. So as you can see, I have only managed to read 4 hours. I have 20 hours left and it's early evening, but I still have tomorrow and maybe Monday. We'll see how it goes. But before I go on with my reading and updating on what I actually read, I want to tell you a little bit more about the books because I didn't do a really good job at the beginning of the video. So I decided I would let you know what the books are about now. So first of all, let's start with the Underground Railroad. As you can see, I made some progress, but actually I found the audiobook for this and I have made so much progress, so much more than I did while reading this, because it is written in such a way, it is like the narrator is telling us a story. So even though I was reading the physical form, I felt like I was being told the story. And I thought, what better way to tell a story than actually say it out loud? So yeah, I downloaded the audiobook and it's amazing so far. Let me see how far I got. I actually read about 1 hour and 45 minutes because I have it on 1.5 speed, and it is so good so far. It is listened to so quickly and I've made so much more progress. I need to find exactly in what page I'm in. So let me see what this book says here so that I don't say any spoilers. So the summary here is basically what I have read so far. So good, no spoilers. So basically this is about Cora, a young slave from a plantation. I don't know if it said at what time exactly this is taking place. It says here in the pre-Civil War era, she manages to escape from this plantation with another slave that used to live there, and they're currently on the run. And they found the Underground Railroad, and from what I've understood so far, they're going to travel through the States. And I don't know if this will be their goal, but to the point I have read so far, it is mentioned that in New York, any slave that enters the city or the state, I'm not sure exactly which, I think the city, becomes immediately a free person because they can't actually prove that they are slaves. So far, this is a very interesting book. I'm learning so much about this era that I honestly want to forget about, that there were people that were treated this way based just on the color of their skin. It is not graphic exactly, but it doesn't shy away from actually telling you what happens to the slaves and what happens to its character and their past, everything that has occurred to them. This is done in a way that is kind of detached, not completely dark and emotionless, but detached, like matter of fact. So you're not feeling like overwhelmed by everything. You just know what happened, what is the background of its character, etc. So the next book I'm going to talk about is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. In this book I have actually managed to listen to about 2 hours during the course of this reading log, again in 1.5 speed. And just like I said in the intro of this reading log, it is about how the world ends. And this is pretty much everything I know about this book and everything I have ever found and everything anyone has said, on YouTube. I try not to listen to too many details because, where's the element of surprise? And so far, this book follows 3 POVs. What is very exciting about this book is that the very, very first POV we're introduced to is actually in second person. So it is written as you went there, you did that, and it makes you feel like you are actually the protagonist. You are the character that this is happening to, Although it is a character that goes through something very extreme in her life, but on the other hand, the way she handles it emotionally helps you not feel too overwhelmed, similar to the Underground Railroad actually. So yeah, and it is a mother who has lost her son by the hand of his father and now is also looking for her young daughter. The second POV is of a young girl that is taken from her home where she is treated like an outcast anyway and is being trained with other people with special powers just like her to actually take control over them and be able to use them in the way she wishes and not without any control. And the very last POV is one of another lady, I'm not sure exactly what age she is, maybe it is mentioned but I don't remember, that actually has special powers and is also trying to conceive a baby with another person that has powers as well. It is more powerful than her, so that they can breed and produce more offsprings with special powers. Well, yeah, and they go on a mission. Basically, that's what is interesting so far in this POV. Anyway, this is how far I've gone through. I have heard before that this is a book that has a rough beginning, and I can see why. Right now, I'm more than halfway through and I'm getting more invested and more interested. So yeah, let's hope it ends with a bang. The final book I mentioned in the intro of this video is Skin of the Sea. So far I haven't read anything from this book, but you know, maybe I will. Like I mentioned, is a YA fantasy and it is about a young mermaid. She's a mermaid who collects souls of those that drop from boats in the sea, but when she saves a young boy, she sets everything in danger and Mami Wata sends her to fix the situation basically, and this is how she goes on an adventure with this boy and she regains her legs, and yeah, it's basically this kind of adventure. The thing is that I had an email this morning from readathon that they have some new free reads for the month of February. And I'm really interested in one of them. It is called Blood Like Magic by Lizelle Sambury. This is actually an urban fantasy, which I'm very excited about because this is one of my favorite genres. So yeah, I decided to insert this book into the vlog as well and read it as an ebook. So yeah, so now we have a fourth book. I have no idea what this is about. I only read the synopsis till the point that it said that it is an urban fantasy. So yeah, I will update you more when I manage to go through it. So yeah, now I'm gonna read some more and let you more about my progress later. Hey guys, I'm here with an update. It's the evening again, just like I left cheel last night. But I have actually made progress. I'm not so far with the 24-hour aspect of the readathon because I'm doing other things in the day, and sometimes I could listen to an audiobook, some other times not so much. I'm like 9 hours in, which is not so much because it's Sunday, but I did read a lot. Actually, I listened to a lot of my audiobooks and I actually reached 60% of the 5th season and about 60% of the Underground Railroad. And I also read 2 or 3 chapters from Blood Like Magic, which is quite good. Let me give you an update on how far I've been. So the Underground Railroad, it's getting more interesting with every passing page because now our heroine is going into new adventures. She has gone to a new state, to a new place, and things are not going well in every place it goes, and we can see what's going on, what's happening, what might have happened back then, and honestly it's a little bit scary to think that all of these are based on a true story. But it's good to learn about all these things and have awareness of how things used to be so that we don't do it again. We don't repeat the history because that would be terrifying. But yeah, so far so good. It is a little bit heavy at times. The topics, are a little bit not what I'm in the mood for, so it takes me a while to get invested into it. But the good thing is that it flows like a story, so the audiobook was a very good choice for me. It feels like I'm listening to what happened. It doesn't feel like a history lesson, more like someone is telling me a story. Which is what you want from an audiobook, really. Also, the 5th season, I'm also about 60% of the way in. This is a completely different book. I want to go back and read a few chapters at some point. It gets more interesting as well. Still, my favorite chapters are those that are told in second person. I feel like I'm the heroine, like I am inside the story. I don't even know if we know her name. I have forgotten, honestly, because I started this over the summer and now I'm continuing it. But yeah, so far so good. I like very much Cyanite's story. This is the second POV. And it starts getting intriguing. And we're left actually in a kind of cliffhanger. Her chapter ended in a very weird manner. And I'm very interested to see how we proceed from that. But now I have to read 2 more chapters before I get back to her story, so we'll see. So far so good with these 2. I also started Blood Like Magic, and so far I can tell you a little bit more than what I told you yesterday. This is an urban fantasy, although right now it's more like a teenager that has abilities and is part of a witch family. It doesn't feel like an urban fantasy yet, but we'll see. Basically, the protagonist is going through her calling phase, the phase where she becomes a witch and she learns what her powers are going to be. She has to meet with an ancestor of hers and surpass a challenge, and then if she manages to surpass the challenge, she can get her powers. And she doesn't know what kind of powers she's going to get. She doesn't have very high self-esteem, which is a very interesting aspect of this story, because I tend to think that we're going to see some self-growth, which is very interesting for me, especially for this age group that we're talking about. It's a 16-year-old girl. And yeah, basically, so far so good. I'm in the point where I think she's going to learn what her powers are going to be, so I'm extremely interested to see what that is and how the story is going to unfold from there. But yeah, we'll see. So far so good with that book as well. I'm hoping I can finish one of these books, if not tomorrow, on Tuesday. And I will definitely make some more progress in Blood Like Magic, because it's also an ebook and I can read it whenever I want and wherever I want, so that's easier for me. Although I do have the audiobooks for the 5th season and the Underground Railroad, which is also very convenient. So yes, I'll update you when I have more progress to update you on. Hey guys, finally did it. 1 hour left from the 24 hours. Finally, it took me a few days, but I did it. Now, currently I'm listening to the audiobook of the 5th season. I also have a few updates on the rest of my reads, but first I want to be finished with that 24-hour readathon, the 24 hours to be finished, and then I'm going to come back and let you know about everything I read, and we'll calculate a little bit all the time I spent reading those 24 hours, all these days it took me to complete. But nevertheless, I'm happy that I've reached this point, only 1 hour left. I'm positive that I can finish the 5th season because I have like 40 minutes of audiobook and it's already sped up like 1.5 speed. Now I'm going to pop to the gym. Maybe I will listen to the audiobook a little bit more, maybe not, we'll see. But when I come back, or tomorrow if I'm too tired, I will let you know how it went, and we'll also read the final few pages together. We'll do the final countdown of the 24-hour readathon together. See you then. Hey guys, So, great news. I have actually finished The Underground Railroad, but I will let you know more about this book later after I finish the fifth season because I'm really close to finishing. I'm not at this point, I'm even further. Oops. I'm even further from this point, but because I'm listening to the audiobook, I'm not sure how it corresponds to the page numbers. So, what I'm gonna do is set up my timer, which is actually only 38 minutes. I accidentally deleted my timer while I was at work, I think, or while I was at the gym. I don't know. But I remembered where I was because I kept taking screenshots to remember my progress and everything. So that was good. So I basically knew around which minute I was. So if I'm off by a couple minutes, it's okay because anyway, my audiobooks were in advanced speed. So what I'm gonna do is set up my timer, listen to the audiobook to find where I am, and actually read the last few pages of this book in physical format because I really want to, read a little bit as well while I have my timer on. It's only 38 minutes. I think it will take me less time to read, but we'll see. If I have more, I will just read some of the other books I have for this reading vlog. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know in the next update. Just finished the fifth season. I will let you know about my thoughts a little bit later because first I need to finish this. Only 16, almost 17 minutes to go. So I will just read my audiobook Blood Like Magic by readathon.com. It's a free read for February. So yeah, I'll set my timer again and let's read until the timer is at 0. Let's go. Hey guys, so as you saw, I finished finally the 24-hour readathon. It took me a lot of days, but I did it. The thing is that I managed to read a few books. I actually finished 3 books and I made progress in 1 more that I'm planning to finish soon. And now let's talk a little bit more about the 3 books that I finished. So the first book that I finished, I actually started it during this readathon and I finished it during this readathon, is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. This is a historical fiction book, more like a literary fiction as well, about the journey of a slave in America. She went from state to state trying to escape the cruel masters she had, and in her journey she found even more cruel, situations and horrible things that were happening to the black people that lived in America and were actually slaves at that point in time. It was heavy at times. It was very tough to get through with all these hard things that were happening, but it was important for these stories to be told. The next book that I had already started, but I managed to finish during these final minutes of the 24-hour readathon, is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. This is a very weird book for me because I've heard that it is a very important literature masterpiece. It has won multiple awards. It's very well received, but I wasn't as invested in it as I hoped I would be. Possibly because it's a science fiction slash high fantasy book, and it's not really the genres I enjoy. But I must say that how everything came together was spectacular. I was surprised. I didn't expect it to happen that way, but I wasn't like completely surprised, mainly because I had seen a YouTuber talk about that, and it wasn't a spoiler, but the way she said something, I understood what was going to happen, but not exactly the way it happened. So kinda spoiled it for me, but also still managed to surprise me, which was awesome. Also very interesting was the use of you and I in this book. For example, some characters were talking to us like, you did that, like I was the protagonist of this book. In a way, we finally got to know who the narrator is, let's say, and like we were the protagonists. I don't know, it's weird. It's very unique, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to dive into the next 2 books in the series. Probably I'm not in the right headspace. That's what happened here. So maybe I will leave some time before I decide my next move, or maybe if I find it in a library or in another format, I can try. The audiobook was very good though, I have to give it that. If I lost a detail, it was lost to me forever. So I even had to go back and read something major that I completely missed. I misunderstood completely what happened there because I was listening to the audiobook, so I went back and read it again. Then I actually finished Ace of Spades. During this readathon, I started this at chapter 34. Ace of Spades is basically a YA-ish mystery and thriller with 2 black characters that are being targeted at their private school. It had many thriller elements. It made me, feel scared at some points. I was at the edge of my seat, but that was until about 70% of the way through, because then we found out who was behind Aces. And while it had crossed my mind, it was still mind-blowing. I didn't want to believe that something like that could happen, but yeah, interesting book. Although the last 30%, it had a little bit of a thriller element, but it wasn't as, scary as it was earlier. It was in one point, I think, only. But then the resolve was near, so, it didn't last. While I enjoyed the writing and the fact that the 2 POVs were so different with each other, I felt that the resolve of the conflict in this book, of one of the conflicts anyway, was too quick. Like one person was forgiven really quickly and without really an explanation as to why they did everything. But yeah, well, I don't want to say anymore in case I spoil it for someone, but yeah, that's the only thing that took me very much away from the story. I didn't like that aspect at all. Like the epilogue was too quick. I don't know. Yeah, this is my main complaint about this book. And lastly, I managed to read 7 chapters of Blood Like Magic. Again, this was a paranormal YA urban fantasy read with witches, with witch families. I read the first 7 chapters, and it's still available for free on readathon.com, so I might keep reading it. So I won't be surprised if it manages to be on my wrap-up, my February wrap-up, although I have a few more days and I want to also read some other books, but we'll see. This was about a young witch that has to complete a task given by her ancestors so that she can fulfill her calling and become stronger. And yeah, we're at the point where she has to basically accept if she will go through or if she will fail her task without even knowing what the task is going to be. So that's stressing for her and very intriguing for me because I want to see what the task is going to be. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching so far, and let me know your thoughts on these books, and if I should continue the 5th season, because I'm so torn about this book. Please let me know your thoughts. Bye bye, see you in the next video.